but quite literally. So we all know there's genocide, Holocaust going on in China, right? And what the monks talk about, or the yogis rather, they all say, like, people ask them, like, how do you not have hatred towards the Chinese, right? Like, how do you not have hatred? Like, you should hate them. They're killing your people, right? They've done bad things to your family, whatever. And they say that your enemy is your best advocate for reaching higher levels of consciousness, right? Because
You can love your
if you
enemy,
have
you can love everyone.
if exactly, if you can love your enemy, you can love anybody, and that's what it's all about. It's all about love. So the Chinese don't know it, but by genociding and killing off all the Tibetans and running them out of Tibet, they're really just raising the consciousness of the monks even more. It's kind of a funny, like, irony about it all.
It is ironic. Very ironic. And this documentary we've mentioned a couple of times is called
Yeah.
Yogis in Tibet. It's free on YouTube. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long. I would recommend everybody watch it. It's super interesting. Super close up. They follow some stuff like never before seen on camera, and they have some people talk. Some of the yogis talk that really don't have any videos of them talking, and they're just sharing like ultimate knowledge with everybody. So
they even have the 14th Dalai Lama in there too.
yeah, they do. They do.
The highest of the high, right?
The high. I forget what his name is, but the Dalai Lama actually did a presentation at my school over in the fall this year. Yeah, they were arranging it for like 7 years. And the Dalai Lama, I go to Monmouth University, and they arranged it. And the Dalai Lama gave like an hour-long presentation on Zoom with my school. And I watched it over. I wasn't there for the live meeting, but I watched it over after the fact. And he had a lot of interesting stuff to say. He talked about the breath. He talked about mastery of the self, right? And that's all the breath is just trying to get in touch with yourself, because it's really hard to in such a fast-paced day and age. Like I said before, there's so many distractions from looking within.
Those distractions are perfectly put in place so you don't sit with your thoughts, so you aren't conscious of your breath. That's why we call it the Matrix, right? Because it was just made by design to trap you and prison you in your own mind, right? Because we have the most depression, suicide rates, all that negative stuff ever, like, nowadays. You ask our parents or like our grandparents about any of that stuff, and that shit didn't exist, and they definitely lived in a harder world than we grew up in, right?
It's just the illusion that it's hard, because you see you go on social media and you see all the best lives that people are living when they're not even so happy themselves, right? None of those people are happy with themselves. And that's I'm not saying nobody's not in touch with themselves. People are happy, obviously. I would say majority of the world is relatively happy, but it's just false expectations and false realities that you're seeing on social media and stuff that leads you into those depressive anxiety states.
We say they're happy though, but like happy, like the people on social media rather, but if you took all those material things away, like, would they really be happy? If you isolated those people and threw them in the woods with nothing besides a tent and some food, and told them they had to hunt for their food every night, would they really be happy? Like, I don't think so.
You take away Kim K's implants, she's probably gonna kill herself. Like, that's how it goes.
Throw me in the woods. I can't wait for Agenda 2030 to come around, baby. I can't wait for them to lock us down again. Come find me in the woods, Biden.
Yeah, we're gonna be
climate change lockdowns, the UFOs. Man.
Yeah,
the fake UFOs, the alien invasion.
Yeah, they're just setting us up. They're setting us up for demise. My professor talks about business ethics class. He gave a TED talk on basically just setting us up, like the Matrix just sets us up to be getters, right? And like he's told a story about his best friend that was like the most successful, richest friend out of his friend group growing up, hot wife, children, handsome guy, like all the shit he could possibly, all the material things that one could want, right? But he lost it all because like he was just so consumed up in getting more, getting the better car, getting the raise, getting more money, that like he eventually lost his wife, he lost his kids, he lost everything, that all the stuff that really amplifies happiness, right?
That you should hold dearly.
that you should hold dearly, and you lost it all. But like, that's just an example of what the world today is like, or what society today rather is like setting us up to do, right? It's almost like they're setting us up to be unhappy. They send us to college, they tell us to get a job, they tell us to work 40 years, retire, get a whatever, get a nice car finally when you retire or something. But like, that's ultimately just setting you up for unhappiness. And the only way to be happy is how?
We're breathing, baby. That
Not
breath
choosing
is
to be
nice.
happy.
So I think we're coming on. I think this is the longest one we've done so far.
This is a good one. You should tune in the whole time.
Yeah, you should be tuned in. I hope you're watching. But I think we should
What should we wrap it up on though? We got to wrap it up on something.
Let's wrap it up on the fact that we're coming for YouTube.
Yo, let's wrap it up on the fact that we are coming. We're watching you, YouTube, bro.
All right, we're not wrapping it up then. We're just coming for you, YouTube. It's that's case, right?
Yeah,
So,
no, that's case. All
join
right,
us.
let's hit on emotional intelligence, right? So,
all right, yeah, let's go.
So through
we're not wrapping it up at YouTube.
Through meditation and the breath, right? That I mean, I brought up a bunch of benefits that, like, meditation specifically, like, helps you realize the self, improves your self-image. When you look in the mirror, you see a better person. When improves your cognition and just like awareness around you, decreases your blood pressure, decreases stress, anxiety. But most importantly, I think it improves emotional intelligence, right? That's something that we don't get taught in school. That's one of the most important things that you could be learning at all. It's
literally it's literally the most important thing someone could have in their life, right? Because like, and we'll talk about emotional intelligence in this sense rather. So think about everyone is made up of energy. Everyone gives off a energy field that is said to project outward like 10 to 14 feet rather, right? So when you heighten your consciousness, you raise your vibration, that then projects your energy vortex a little more than someone that's living like low vibrational lifestyle. But so when you're heightened above the rest, everyone else, and you have that next level awareness, that gives you the emotional intelligence rather than like over like more like better lower level people, because that heightened sense of awareness allows you to like feel everyone else around you, allows you to quite literally like see everything, feel the energy around you, and it just allows that in its sense allows you to be more emotional intelligent.
Presence and
At
that
least
awareness,
that's what I found.
Yeah, that presence and awareness that you have. I mean, I've noticed it specifically since I started meditating, and even more so recently.
I didn't even know what that shit was before I started meditating.
No. And like I can like look at somebody in the eyes and really like feel what they're feeling, or like see if they're like sense if they're lying, sense if they're being kind of like untruthful, right? Like
100%.
It helps you tap into not only your own emotions but other people's, but like the emotional intelligence in yourself. Like you're more aware of why you feel happy, why you feel sad, why you feel angry, why you feel mad. Like you can understand the reason why rather than just the feeling, because people tend to react rather than like do, you know what I'm saying? Like they tend to react to their emotions rather than react intelligently to the situation. And when you understand where those emotions are coming from and you separate your emotions and your thoughts, right? And then you have a much clearer mind, and meditation and conscious breathing helps with all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's bringing almost like the same thing as bringing the two and one together, right? You gotta have actual intelligence, that the science, math, reading, writing, all that jazz. But that's only going to get you so far. If you don't have emotional intelligence and you can't work well with people, and you can't not even rather work well with people, if you can't even understand your own emotions, how do you expect to get far in life, right? Because the most successful people, like, let's think about like who's a highly successful person. I'll pick Tony Robbins, for example, right? Tony Robbins was poor guy on the street. This brings up another topic too. He tells the story of how he had like $10 left to his name, and he spent it at like all you can eat taco shop or something, right? But then he saw a little kid open the door for his mother, right? And he said, "Oh fuck, I only got a couple bucks left. I might as well give it to the little kid. The little kid is gonna use it, gonna be way more happy with that money than like he is, right? Because he has nothing anyway." Gives the little kid the money, and then he says he just goes on he just sprints for like however long, and then he eventually finds himself. But then because he gave that money to the kid, his buddy owed him like a couple $1,000 that just like never the guy never paid him. He lent it out, the guy never paid him. So he gave the money, right? Money's energy, currency's all energy, right? So he gives the energy to this kid. This kid is grateful, right? He put out a good vibration into the world. And then a couple weeks later, when he had no money, this check showed up at his house for a couple $1,000. And that's just like that's almost like the karmic universe, right? So like he put some good energy in the world and he received it back, and that's what we're
Given you
that's what we're
shall
talking.
receive, man.
Yeah,
Given
like
you shall receive. I mean,
oh,
what you put out comes back to you. Like everything that's reciprocated.
that's another thing we could talk about real quick is mantras, right? So like when you're meditating, you could have a mantra, and that goes for literally anything. That goes for manifestation, all this jazz, right? So in the money aspect, if you just sit every day and you're conscious of the breath and say over and over again, I attract all money is energy and I attract all energy. So money will come to me in 10 folds than what I have now, right? Something along the lines of that, literally anything. But it's not only the act of saying it, it's the act of feeling it, right? Like, so manifestation doesn't work
Feeling
unless
it
you
as
sit
if it already
in it,
happened.
feeling as if it already happened. And that's almost like that's a whole different topic of quantum jumping, right? You're projecting your consciousness or jumping into a different quantum realm of existence, and you're viewing yourself as that highly successful person already, and you're feeling what it feels like to live that life. But we talk about everything's infinite, so you already live that life somewhere else. Anything you could think of already happened and will happen because your thoughts create your reality. So if you think about that every day, it's eventually going to happen. We talk about this shit all the time. No one's watching this shit right now. If we do it every day and we think about it, eventually something's gonna click. Gary Vee fucking posted videos of him reviewing wine on YouTube for like fucking 20 years before he popped off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shit's
You
crazy.
have to do it with a passion
We're
before anything actually comes from it, right? And like you said, there's an infinite amount of possibilities. There's an infinite amount of intelligence, knowledge, love in the universe, right? All the timelines, like this has happened a million times over already. This exact conversation we're having, but all possibilities are on the table, right? The universe expands infinitely. We live infinitely. Everything's happened and everything will happen. Like we're the creators of our own universe and we're the creators of our own thoughts and emotions, right? Everything comes down to like self-responsibility. You're in charge of everything. Everything's infinite, but what's not infinite is time on this podcast. We're going for like 45 minutes already, and this has been a good one. It's been fun, everybody. And 5D, we are watching you, YouTube. All
Wait,
right,
when are
guys.
we coming? Wait, we'll be back sometime next week. We might possibly have our
We
first
might
ever
have a
guest
guest. Yes, we might
on the
have our first ever
5D
guest. We'll keep you guys updated, and we'll post on
We'll post some
5D
clips.
Spiritual Warrior Instagram about it.
5D_warrior. Click the link in the bio.
Click the link
Subscribe.
in bio, man.
That stupid fugazi YouTube shit. But back to what matters, right? We're coming after you, YouTube.
We're watching you, YouTube.